You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your new favorite podcast for everything Bills and Sabres. What's going on, everybody? You're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast, your favorite podcast for all things Bills and Sabres, with the pals Nigel and Tom this evening. Episode 64 is coming at you. You know the drill. Don't forget, folks, follow the socials. You can find us on all of them, everything. You name it, we're on it with the handle back up. Let's Go Buff Pod. That's Buff with 2 F's. I know the handle, Tom. I know it. You can't fool me. I know it. Yes, at Let's Go Buff Pod with 2 F's. Let's get around here and say hello to my truly sweetest, bestest, wonderfulest friend there ever was. Tommy, what's going on, brother?
Hey. I'm good, man. I'm good. I am excited to talk some sports. It's been a little bit of a busy week with lots of stuff on the docket, lots of balls in the air, and some of them are flaming and covered in baby poop, but it's been a good week, but a busy week, so I'm excited to hang. This is going to be fun. How are you, pal?
I'm good, buddy. Yeah, nice to just the pod. We always get to it's nice to just step outside of the rat race for a minute.
It is.
Shoot the shit, have a drink, hang out with your buds, and talk some ball and some puck. And I know I've missed the last two. I was ill and then had my wonderful folks in town for a minute, but I'm super stoked to be back. Still enjoying the benefits of having my mom come visit, particularly in terms of food. She made me a giant, big ass pot of Italian sauce. So I've just been rifling through that, dude. Like, made me the full family size. Shared a little bit with my roommates, but I have pretty much just been eating almost exclusively pasta for like the last, check my invisible watch here, 1 week.
Bro,
so
sign me up.
Yeah, dude, I'm not complaining. You know how it goes, bro. Like, you don't live at home anymore either. So it's like, yeah, it's always better. Like you miss the home cooked meals, right? I don't know about you. I'm still same as college, buddy. I'm still dog shit in the kitchen.
Yeah,
so it's
don't
really
change.
right. So it's really nice to have some mom meals cooked up and ready to go for me. But we're not doing any eating on this podcast, Tom. We're only drinking. So would you like to have a beverage with me?
Good. We're just so good. Yeah. I would. Cut me down, buddy.
All right, buddy. 3, 2, 1.
I gotta do a cooking show with just Nigel in the kitchen in college.
You don't want that, dude. You don't want that.
That'd be good.
It's
a good thing that I'm the one who cooks at tailgates, right?
Dog, if it's more than like 3 ingredients, I'm not interested.
No, you're not.
Because the more ingredients, the more cleanup there is at the end, and that's what I really hate when it comes to cooking is the cleanup. I can't do the cleanup. If I could just cook and leave it all, and then everything would suddenly be away and clean, I'd be the best cook there ever was. But yeah, dude, if I can do it in one pan or one pot, that's what I'm doing. So
we gotta get you a Dobby the house elf. That's what we got.
Oh my God, dude, I would kill for a Dobby. The closest thing I have to a Dobby is my air fryer, dude. If I didn't have that air fryer, I would absolutely be dead by now. I would have starved.
I want you to get a piece of tape, Sharpie, and just name it Dobby.
Just name it Dobby. Yeah, I probably should. Dude, I cook everything, and it's so nice, right? Because you just put the liners in there. Anyway, not a cooking podcast, a sports podcast.
What are you drinking tonight, buddy?
Dude, I'm actually cheating a little bit. I have a seltzer.
Oh, that's not cheating. That's alcohol.
Have you had you ever had the Spindrift spiked seltzers?
Not the Spindrift spiked. No, is it good?
Dude, they're good,
the regular
man. Yeah, the regular spinnies. Yep, I have those down there too. That's what my folks like. So when they were down here, they stocked up on Spindrifts and left me with what they didn't drink. So yeah, I'm drinking a mango Spindrift this evening.
Hell yeah, bud. Nice. I love it.
What do you got?
I got one week left on my Sober October. I don't think I've talked to you about this yet. I'm doing a Sober October.
No.
Yeah, and it's been good. It's been really good.
Hey,
Occasionally there's been some days where it's like, oh boy, I would love a glass of wine with my wife, but here I am. I'm doing one more week. I got an Athletic Brewing Company, who I would love for us to sponsor us. Run Wild IPA, so I should say their name correctly. It's good.
Nice, dude. Hell yeah. All right, brother.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers to you, buddy. Good to see you. Tom, shall we get into some Sabres talk a little bit?
Yeah. So walk me through this. We've had
Yeah.
some ugly, ugly, and then I feel like we won a game against Florida the other day, right?
Yeah, we did. Well, that was a little ways back. So yeah, so I actually want to touch on that very briefly because let me get a little bit more recent. So
Yeah.
the last two games since we've been on the pod here, or at least since Jake broke things down for us, we've played two more games since then. We played the Chicago Blackhawks and the Dallas Stars. Dallas definitely a really, 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 really good team in the NHL. Chicago, I would say up and coming. They've got probably arguably the best young player in the game right now in Connor Bedard. He's the next young like phenom. So, they're still looking to build around him, but that project isn't done yet. Still a rebuilding team. But for us to beat Dallas, and I want to paint that picture a little bit because we fucking beat Dallas, dude. We played a really, really, really great game. For about 50, I would say 54 minutes, we did a really, 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 really great job. And then, so let me paint you this quick little picture. There are 6 minutes left, and we are up 3-0. Tom, we've played a great game, very sound defensively. We're putting pucks on that.
Yep.
Guys are looking good. Okay.
What the boys are supposed to do.
Yep. They're doing the thing. So 6 minutes in the game, Dallas is down 3-0. Their coach goes, fuck it, we're going to pull the goalie. We're going to see what we can do. Okay. And I'm thinking, oh my God, 6 minutes left with the goalie. No shot. Okay. What does Dallas immediately do? Score a goal. So now it's 3-1, right?
Okay.
So I'm thinking, okay, no shot, right? There's no way. And then about a minute and a half later, what does Dallas do? They scored a goal. And now I am white knuckling my sofa because I swear to God, bro, if I watch this team play the game they just did and then absolutely fizzle out when there's no goalie in the opposite net for us to score on, dude, I literally, bro, I don't know what I would have done. It went from, oh my God, this game is awesome. Okay, they scored a goal, whatever, not gonna panic, to I'm not kidding, dude.
Just
white
full
knuckling.
On. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm like, please, I can't, this can't happen to me. Yep. Thankfully, we score an empty netter and we win the game 4-2. So except for those last 6 minutes where I got at least 3 more gray hairs, it was an outstanding game. Everything that I would want to see from the Sabres. Fast, aggressive, forecheck, taking away time and space. So the 5-on-5 aspect of that game was great. The power play for this team is still an absolute unequivocal disaster. We have not scored a single power play goal, and we have had now 22 chances. Shocker, that puts us at last in the league. I can't believe that we haven't scored a power play goal. It is humiliating. It is embarrassing. And I can't even begin to imagine why that is. We've had some good looks. I think part of it is a little bit of being snake bit right now. The other part of it is those first 2 games in the season, being in Prague, I think they just got to set down a weird path. Like that's never been a thing that's happened.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would completely agree with that.
Yeah. So it's just, a weird thing. But I mean, 22 power plays, no goals. Holy fuck. We got to figure it out. I think the biggest thing I'm seeing right now, still struggling to enter the zone on the power plays. Teams are basically just stacking the blue line when that they're defending, and we're having a super, super hard time actually entering the zone to be able to set up the power play. That's been a theme for the Sabres for the last, handful of years anyway. Mm-hmm. Was really hopeful that with Seth Appert running the power play, that would change. And so as a reminder, Seth Appert was the coach for the Amerks the last several years, came up and is now an assistant coach with the Sabres for this season and is in charge of running the power play. So I don't really know what to say about that at this point. I guess we'll chalk it up to maybe Seth Appert doing more work in the AHL than the NHL and maybe not having a super strong foundation in terms of how to run an NHL power play. It can't be that different, though. I'm at a bit of a loss on that one. The penalty kill, not great, but it's weird because it's at least passing the eye test for me. Like one of the things that we're doing on our penalty kill right now is taking away time and space really, really well. We're being super aggressive, which I think is awesome. We are still like towards the bottom third of the league in terms of our penalty kill. We're only killing right now 76%, which puts us at 22nd in the league. So all this to say, special teams for the Sabres right now are an issue. I'm really hoping that that's something that we can improve on both sides, whether it be power play and penalty kill, because if you marry that with what I'm seeing in terms of the 5-on-5 play the last couple of games, it's going to be a really solid thing. So yeah, I've said a lot of things here, Tom. Do you have any questions, comments, concerns that you want to pipe in on with any of the Sabres talk?
Yeah, I want to go back to the issues of Buffalo, like capitalizing on a power play, right?
Yeah.
So you're talk me through. You just mentioned that it's an issue of getting of Can you what was the way that you phrased it?
Entering the opposing zone, entering the other team's defensive zone, our offensive zone.
So if you were sitting in Seth Appert's, office, which I'm sure he is pulling his hair out right now, wondering what the hell he's supposed to do, what would you tell him? Like, what's the strategy to beat that? Because I'm sure that's other teams that's how they approach it. Hey, we're just going to lock this down and not let the team capitalize on having the advantage of men. Like, what's the play to kind of beat that?
In some capacity or another, you have to find a way to spread out that opposing defense, because what's happening right now is they're basically just let's say, okay, Buffalo's entering the zone, right? The opposing team has 4 guys out on the ice, right? Because 5v4 for the power play. And basically what they're doing is right across that blue line, they're just going boop, 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 4 guys right in a row. And then once Buffalo enters the zone, the 2 guys that are in the middle, which are usually defensemen, are the skating backwards, and then everyone's assuming their correct position. I'm not exactly able to sit here and say this is exactly what they need to do to be able to get this to happen. Because other teams do this too, like you said, right? Like Dallas isn't the only team that stacks at the blue line to make zone entries difficult, right? But what you have to do there is find a way to get those guys to move around. Whether, that's dumping the puck in and taking advantage of the fact that that defensive group is playing up pretty high, that's the first thing I think of is just get it deep and then go to work. The problem is when you do that, you have to dump it in before you cross that blue line. And on the power play, it's hard to dump it in because the moment the defenseman gets back there, they can just clear it because it's a penalty kill. Right. So that dumping and chasing idea on the power play isn't as great because when it's 5-on-5, they can't just dump the puck because then it's icing. So it's a matter of being able to find those creases where those defensemen aren't so that we're able to at least get in and set up.
Yeah. Okay.
We have the last several years been so fucking bad at that.
Yeah.
And teams seem to just walk right in against us. So I'm at a loss because we're at like 3 or 4 coaches now that don't seem to be able to get us in the offensive zone on a power play. That's the biggest issue that I'm seeing is we half the time, like if it's a 2-minute power play, we're spending a minute to a minute and a half just trying to fucking set up.
Yeah.
So if you can't set up, you're not scoring.
Right.
So
yeah.
I wish I had a more profound answer for that. But I'm not exactly sure what it is. I'm just able to see that issue and see that it's a continuation. So I want to also give some players some flowers here. There are some guys on this team that they've been a really, really, really pleasant surprise. The number one guy for me, Ryan McLeod, dude. And this, you got to give Kevin Adams his flowers because, he ignored the talk from the fan base, in terms of keeping Matt Savoy, who was the guy that we traded to get Ryan McLeod. And by God, dude, Kevin Adams looks like a genius right now for that move because what's Matt Savoy doing in Edmonton? I'll tell you, he's not playing in Edmonton. He's playing in the AHL. So, and that's not to say that he won't eventually get to the NHL and be dominant. But for where the Sabres are right now in their life cycle, we didn't need a Matt Savoy. We did need a Ryan McLeod, and he's flourishing in this expanded role with the Sabres, dude. He has 4 goals in 5 games, as we're 8 games into the season, and his record in a season is 12 goals. So, like, something about whatever the position that Lindy Ruff is putting him in right now, he's doing well. He scored the empty net. He scored an empty net goal the other day. Scored a goal against Dallas as well. He's been awesome, dude. So shout out Kevin Adams on that one. I wish he would make more moves because, I mean, a lot of the time The moves that we're seeing him make are good ones. He just doesn't seem to make enough to satisfy everything.
Sure.
So Ryan McLeod is a big one. Owen Power seems to be coming into his own. He had a couple tough games to start, but I'd say the last 3 or 4, he's been an offensive dynamo for this team, and looking like an $8 million player that we signed him to be. Tage Thompson seems to be back. Dude, Tage Thompson, dude, he is absolutely lighting up the net right now. The goal he scored against Dallas was fucking crazy, dude. And I mean, an absolute bomb, dude. Like in motion while sliding on his skates, 98 miles an hour slap shot. So he's looking real nice, dude. He's looking like a badass. JJ Peterka picking right up where he left off last season. Looks awesome. This is a big one here. Jordan Greenway, dude. Jordan Greenway is a guy that I gave a lot of shit to last season, saying I'm not interested in this guy until he starts playing the way that I see that he should be able to. And I'm not going to toot my own horn, dude, but everything that I've been saying I want him to do, he's starting to do now, right? He's a wrecking ball out there. He's beating the shit out of guys, not fighting. He's just a nightmare to play against. I don't know what Lindy Ruff has said to him to get him to this spot, dude, but he looks like the 6'8" or whatever he is, 230-pound, big, skilled guy that he is. He's not nearly as skilled as Tage Thompson, but he's been a massive, massive bright spot. And then Peyton Krebs, dude. Peyton Krebs, another guy we talked about a decent amount on the pod, just kind of being a guy that, like, we're not really sure where he fits in yet. He's been looking awesome. Got a goal against Dallas as well. He's just playing really, really smart, sound hockey. The points are going to come, but he's passing the eye test big time right now. So wanted to make sure I give those guys a shout out because they're guys that I've dogged on the pod, and the fan base has dogged quite a lot as well. And then just a couple of guys that I'm nervous about right now, man. Jake asked me earlier in the year, or like right before the season started, about who I was looking to, like, maybe not be a dark horse, but just a guy that I'm excited about, right? Looking to have an improved season or a big season or whatever. Dylan Cousins was the guy that I mentioned. I was hoping for a bounce back after the season he had last season. So far, man, just hasn't happened. The first, I would say, 6 games of the season, he's looked lost. He's not skating well, not being defensively sound. The last 2 games, he's definitely looked considerably better. Like, he's finding his way a little bit. But man, dude, like, it's just not enough. And he's our second line center right now. Like, you got to pray that DC is going to wake up, because if he doesn't, we're looking at year 14, missing the playoffs, dude. You can't have a second line center that isn't putting up. I mean, I think your second line center minimum has to put up 60 points, 50 to 60 points minimum. Yeah. And, you know, he's not there right now. And then his winger that I was hoping to have a really big year too, Jack Quinn, kind of MIA so far this year, you know, and again, similarly to DC, like in the last couple of games, has looked better. But if this second line right now does not figure it out, this is going to be a Sabres team that does not make the playoffs again, because every other line right now is crushing it. The top line looks great with Peterka and Thompson. Third line with Ryan McLeod and Jason Zucker looks really, really great. Greenway's on that line too. Fourth line is just providing a lot of energy, a lot of physicality. We got to have that second line wake up in terms of points. If they don't start scoring, it's going to be another long season. So worried about those guys. So far, I haven't seen it, but the last 2 games are the signs are at least trending up. So we'll take that. But guys that I'm definitely concerned about as of right now. In the next couple of games, we've got the Red Wings on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Red Wings haven't started off great this season. They're right about where we are in terms of a record. And then Monday, we play the Panthers again. Now, with the Panthers, that first time we played them, they were missing their 3 best players, and I mean their 3 best players, which at their respective positions, those 3 players probably rank top 15 in the league, maybe top 20. So it's three difference makers, and that was Matthew Tkachuk, Alexander Barkov, and Sergei Bobrovsky that just didn't play last time we played them.
Right.
And we did look good. We beat them. It looked like we outplayed them. But when you're missing 2 star forwards like Chucker and Barkov and your number 1 goalie, it's hard to, you know, really kind of feel like you're doing putting your best foot forward as a hockey team. So that game still worries me for Monday night. Would really like to see us take care of business on Saturday against Detroit. But yeah, man, that's kind of our Sabres update. there's good things to take away from the last 2 games, but I'm not sold yet. After that
Right.
Columbus game, dude, I was irate, to say the least. I was actually screaming the F bomb in my apartment, like couldn't believe what I was watching, like
Right.
just blown away. So I've come down a little bit from that, thankfully, because I think I texted you and I was like, I'm gonna freak out on the podcast.
Yeah. I was expecting some fireworks.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll get those next time, because we got 2 games where we should. I mean, if we're playing the way we did against Dallas, we can beat anybody any night of the week. So
Sure.
we'll continue to see what this team turns into with Lindy Ruff. It's still super early, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I don't feel awesome, but wouldn't say that I feel terrible anymore either. So that's your Sabres update, Tom. Questions, comments, concerns from you?
Nah, man. Just I'm following Jake's rule of thumb. You got to be in playoff position by Thanksgiving. So I'm hoping and praying that our boys can figure something out to at least get in spitting distance by Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
well, like Jake always says, dude, you can't make the playoffs in November, but you can lose out in November. So, and he's absolutely right about that, dude. So we're getting into that critical month right now. We'll see. Again, it's still early with a new head coach, and that does matter.
Yes.
But I don't know, man. I'm just not ready to put any stock in seeing what I've seen these last 2 games, even though they're positives, just because we flip-flop like a son of a bitch, this Sabres team. So yeah, man, that's our Sabres update as of right now.
Cool.
Yeah, brother.
Oh, yeah. All right, man. Well, go Sabres. We'll figure it out. Here we are. So, kind of flipping over to the Bills side. Before we hop into talking about Titans game or talking about the upcoming Seahawks game, there's some pretty big newsy items that happened the last week or two, and we didn't get to talk about some of them. And honestly, some of them are brand new this week. There's been some wide receiver movement, pal. Some big names in big places that matter to the AFC and especially the Bills. So I'm gonna kind of just list the 3 trades real quick, and then let's talk about them, because you and I haven't really had a chance to really spitball about this. So the Bills obviously brought in Cooper. Mr. Amari Cooper. We sent a 2025 third-round pick, a 2026 seventh-round pick in exchange for Amari Cooper and a 2025 sixth-round pick. And we're only taking on about $807,000. The Jets picked up Devontae Adams. Went and found Mr. Rogers. They sent a conditional third-round pick and took on the entire contract with the big numbers. And now this week, just the other day, DeAndre Hopkins traded to the Chiefs from the Titans. We just played them for a conditional 5th and took on about half of the contract. So I'm gonna let you kind of pick from that list, pal. You know what? No. Let's start with Bills. Let's start at home, and then we can talk through kind of the implications of the Jets and the Chiefs also bringing on people. So, what do you think about this Cooper trade? You clearly have the benefit of some hindsight here that we already got a game, and he looked, he had an impact. So, what are your thoughts on that, pal?
Yeah, obviously, dude. I think the number one thing there is great value all the way around for the Bills, right? I mean, when you can give up a third-round pick, and a third-round pick is not nothing. Right, like a third-round pick is still a guy that, at the very least, you're in your mind as a GM, your third-round pick is a guy that is could be starting within the next year or 2 years, right?
Yep.
So that's I guess you can call it a developmental starter, but I would even place it a tier above that, because it's somebody that you are hoping to probably play significant snap counts within a short period of time.
It's right? James Cook,
right? And I mean, like Dwayne Carter, when Oliver went down, he started, right? So
that kind of player.
That caliber of a player. It's not nothing to give that up, but I mean, Amari Cooper, man, and let's not even talk about this last game, because you're right. Obviously, you get a new wide receiver, he goes for 60 some odd yards and a touchdown. It's going to look great. Let's ignore that game for a second and just look at the resume in and of itself. Several recent 1,000-yard seasons with dog shit quarterback play.
Miserable.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what I think. I think Amari Cooper, man, has really probably been he's probably a little bit further down the wide receiver rankings than I think he should be, because of the fact that he's never had a Josh Allen caliber quarterback throwing the ball. He played a little bit with Dak Prescott, but Dak Prescott not in the same tier as Josh Allen, and B, that season that Coop was there, Dak was hurt for 3/4 of the year or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
with, backups and the backups.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, Amari Cooper, dude, his resume is heavy. The salary that we took on, $800K, oh my God, what a gift, right?
Nothing.
I mean, like, and then you look at, what the Jets did taking on the Davante Adams contract. I mean, fucking have a time, dude. Like, trying to sort through that contract and Rodgers' numbers and whatever. We'll get to them. But I just think the value for this Amari Cooper pick, dude, was off the fucking charts, honestly, for the Bills. I mean, you get a guy who is exactly what the team needed, a guy who's able to create separation quickly, right? Get you a bucket when you need it, right? On a 3rd and 6, something like that. You know that Amari Cooper is going to be able to contribute quickly to this team in those types of situations because he can uncover quickly, right?
And a legit downfield threat, like an actual downfield threat, like somebody that teams have to take into account for, not just an MVS who happens to sprint down the field.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just outstanding value to me for the Bills to be able to get Amari Cooper at that price for the year. Yeah, 3rd round pick is something, but you're getting back something in terms of a pick, right? You got a 6th round pick. I'll remind you that we drafted a guy named Christian Benford in the 6th round, who is rapidly turning into a star in this league. So, I mean, getting an Amari Cooper and just giving Brandon Beane more ammunition in order to make picks, I don't know, man. It's tough to find fault in it for me. It's really, really, really hard. In fact, I would go as far as to say there is no fault here, right? It's kind of a win-win.
It's a no-brainer. Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. Yeah, you take on that little bit of money. He's going to be great for you for the rest of the year, bare minimum. And if things go well, then, you re-sign him. I don't know what that number looks like. Who knows? Probably going to depend on how the rest of the season goes.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's not out of the question that he could be back with the team next year, especially knowing that money that we got from cutting Stephon Diggs becomes available to sign a player like Amari Cooper to the contract that he deserves. That won't be the insane, Stephon Diggs type of number.
Right.
So, I mean, and then you add into the hindsight the fact that the guy scored a fucking touchdown on the play. He didn't even know his route. Like, I'm
so good.
10 out of 10 for me, dude. It's a killer move by Brandon Beane. I feel like if you're a Jets fan and you're watching, what the Bills did with Amari Cooper in terms of his stats and the amount of money that we're paying for him compared to what you watched Davante Adams do or not do in his first game with the Jets. And, oh, yeah, you took on $1 trillion.
So much money. So much money.
Like,
and ate it all. Didn't the Raiders didn't take out a dime.
No, dude. So I mean, for me, the Raiders are making out like bandits because you got a guy that was pissy, typical wide receiver diva. You just dumped all that money off, right? You got no dead cap from that, right? I don't think they do, at least, because they gave all the New York picked up the entire contract, and now New York looks like shit with $1 trillion tied up with Aaron Rodgers and $1 trillion tied up with Davante Adams. And my God, dude, I'm sorry. And I hate the Jets so much. But it's really like, I'm really trying my best to remove that bias, dude. Aaron Rodgers is playing like dog shit. I mean, I don't care who you bring in right now. Aaron Rodgers doesn't look like Aaron Rodgers. He looks like a 41-year-old playing quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
What he looks like. And I don't care. Like,
did you see his injury report this week? He was.
No, I missed it.
He had a ham. He was on the injury report for a hamstring, and then continuing to nurse a knee and an ankle. You might as well just like have written up injured for being old. Like he's just
did not participate. Reason old. Like I don't know. That defense still looks solid, although I mean that defensive line seems to be a shell of what it used to be. Yep. I mean, truly. So, and then you add on top of that Raj, he's got that offensive line sucks too, man. He's getting the shit kicked out of him. I think it was AJ Epinesa. Somebody absolutely blew up Aaron Rodgers on the Bills.
It was Epinesa.
I think it was Epi.
Yep.
And like I watched that hit, dude. I'm like, oh my God, dude. Like, there's no way that guy isn't getting up from that hit and being like, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah. Well,
right? Like, why did
waking
I
up
just
the
take
next
my
morning.
money and ride off into the sunset? You know, you got a Super Bowl ring. Yeah, it was 2011, but you can at least say you have one. You're one of the greatest quarterbacks to go down. You're a first ballot Hall of Famer, no questions asked. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I just can't understand. It's the same thing with Brady. Like, why can't these guys ever let it go? Like,
Yeah.
right off into your sunset, man. I
Right.
get that, like professional athletes, the competitive of the competitive, right? Like, I say I'm competitive. Like, I think compared to those guys, not like, don't even know what the word means. And I get that, like, it's got to be hard to just, I mean, you work your whole life for that shit. It's got to be hard to just walk away.
Yep.
But my God, dude, you're 41. It's a league of 26-year-old souped up freaks. Like, just get out, man. Enjoy your life.
And the fact that the Jets aren't this superstar like juggernaut. Like if he had a
No.
really great team around him and all the pieces and literally all they needed was a quarterback with a good head and who could move the ball, like I'd understand that. But the Jets weren't there when he signed with them and still aren't there when he started to play this season. Like I completely agree. Not a clue of what he's thinking, but you know what? I'm gonna let the Jets continue to do what the Jets do because it's hilarious and quite fun. They're 2-5 and now multiple games behind in the division, as is the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots. So as we remember when the AFC East is supposed to be incredibly competitive.
Yes.
Remember when we were told that and that the Bills where there was no shot that the Bills were going to be win the division again?
I do remember that. I remember that very, very, very clearly, actually.
Cool. All right. Well, just checking. All right. That's
nice. No, it's good. It's good to touch base on that on things like that.
Yeah. Keep that in the front of your brain.
I think my favorite thing I'm seeing right now is Fins fans that are okay. Do we talk about Tua coming back from this concussion? Is that something we want to talk about today?
Yeah. Bring it up. Yeah.
I mean, oh, God, dude. I struggle with it. I struggle with it so much, dude, because let's zoom out for a second, right? The guy has three diagnosed concussions in the last 2 years. One of them, and then another hit that didn't get diagnosed as a concussion, but changed the rules for concussion protocol.
So yeah, concussion.
Yeah,
not
right.
A doctor.
Like seemingly.
Concussion.
I mean, when you get hit and you lie there and your hands do this thing, right? Like something's not okay. So
yeah,
and for this dude to be like, and Tua's what? He's in his mid-20s, like 26. I want to say,
dude. 26.
So for him to sit there and tell reporters and I'm paraphrasing here. This is not an exact quote, but something along the lines of, I'll play this game to death. Dog, I mean, we're talking about your goddamn brain.
It was quite the word choice.
It was, dude.
It was
quite
the word choice, and I was
If I'm Tua's wife and the mother of those two like babies, dude, like those two little kids, and I'm hearing that, I'm going, hey, honey, let's chat about this for a second, because like it'd be really sick to have my kids, not have a dad whose brain is mush.
Right.
And
by the time he's 52.
By the time he's 52, he's on track to be brain dead by the time he's 28.
Yeah.
I mean, I truly, dude, I worry about Tua, the person, because my God, is it going to be a tough look for the NFL when he gets hit again and something really bad happens, right? Like where is the overarching thing to be like, hold on a second here. 3 diagnosed concussions in the last 2 years. What are we doing? And this guy's gearing up to play this Sunday. I just
without the guardian cap.
That's the other thing too.
And he opted out of it. He opted out of the guardian cap, which is scientifically proven to it is safer and has already is worn. This is the first season. If anybody's noticed, if you ever see any of the players with the funny little padded helmets, that's the guardian cap, and it's the thing that they all of them wear. Well, most of them wear during off-season training and things like that, but not generally has been worn in season. And this year they're allowing it. So I don't know. If it was me, I would absolutely. I'd put that everywhere.
Well, he should be medically required to wear that thing, dude. I mean, Taylor Rapp missed 1 game with 1 concussion and came back, and he's wearing the guardian cap now.
Yeah, it should be. That should be part of protocol. That should be.
It should be, especially if you've had multiple in the last couple of years, dude.
Right.
I'm worried about Tua the person, because man, that's going to be. I'm just picturing the moment where he's playing and he lands the wrong way or he gets hit, and then that moment on live TV is just it's going to be crippling for people.
It's going to be in that. It could be in that same like vein as the DeMar incident, right?
It absolutely
DeMar's
could.
injury. Like it could absolutely.
It's kind of what I'm like hinting towards a little bit. Like I just
which
don't.
was not, but it's a different category because that was not DeMar's choice. It was not DeMar's. DeMar did not have anything. That was nothing. He never had anything like that before, right?
Yeah,
so it's not like he had a history.
It's a 1 in trillion, chance of that exact thing happening too. Like it was a freak thing.
Yeah,
concussions. Your chance of getting another one after you've had one are like it increases so much, and then to have 3 in the last 2 years, not including the one that changed the protocol in the league. I whatever, dude. I mean, do your thing, dude. But like, I'm just trying to zoom out and look at two of the human being who is a father and a husband. And I'm just like, get your fucking priorities straight, dude. I mean, you got a boatload of guaranteed money this year, right? Just it's already generational wealth. Like, I don't know, man. That being said.
Yep. We could go on for a while here, but
we really could. Yeah. So I mean, I wish him the best health wise, but all this to say, I'm laughing at the Finns fans that are like, oh yeah, Tua's gonna come back and we're gonna set the league on fire. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Buffalo beat the ever living shit out of you week 2 when you had Tua. I don't want to hear it.
Right.
So miss me with that stuff. The Jets are gonna be. I mean, Aaron's just gonna keep inviting his friends to come over and play, and it's not a winning formula. I'm excited for Bob Saleh right now because he's got to be just sitting in his comfy chair making $2 million a day, laughing his balls off.
Did you see he's going to be a defensive consultant with the Packers? With Matt LaFleur, who we already won a Super Bowl with, right? Like,
dude. It's
or worked with. I don't know if they won a Super Bowl. He worked with.
I don't remember, but
I don't remember. Yeah, dude. He's doing something. He's enjoying himself. So
it's just dude, and he's making $2 million a day. I crunched it out to just like do nothing. He could be doing nothing. He's still choosing to be a part of the game. But God, if I'm that guy, dude, I am laughing my ass off at the Jets.
Oh yeah. Now, okay, we still got a lot on the docket here, but let's talk Hopkins to the Chiefs, pal. So, right, there's 2 camps at this point. It's, oh my God, holy shit, it's DeAndre Hopkins going to play with Patrick Mahomes. They just got another monster weapon. Holy cow. They're already 7-0. Like, they're on just they're a train that cannot be derailed. Or he's old, kind of dried up, isn't really going to be that much of an impact. And I have a feeling I know where you are, but I'll let you kind of take this and run.
I'm in the first bucket myself. And anybody that says, like, you got to watch the film, man. Obviously, you can't gauge any of these wide receivers in Tennessee right now because Wilt Levis couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, right?
Yep,
that being said, right, I still think, dude, I think DeAndre Hopkins has a lot of game left. I really, really, really do.
At least 12 games worth, right?
At least, dude, and good play. Like, he's still, like, if you watch the film from those Titans games, like, he's still, I'm not going to sit here and say that I watched a ton, but once I saw that he got traded, I was like, okay, like, what's he been looking like this year, right? And just spending a little bit of time, dude. I think he's a victim of the quarterback play in Tennessee. I really do. I think his route running still looks good. Is he going to light the league on fire in Kansas City? I don't think so, man. And they've got injuries over there, right? Like, there's no Rashee Rice right now. Who's the other guy that
Hollywood's out?
Yeah,
Hollywood's out for the season. Rashi's out for the season. Juju just is out with the hamstring. So the cupboards are dry over in Kansas City, and that's going to be an issue, right? So now, yes, they have DeAndre, but he doesn't really have anybody else running with him. It's Travis Kelce, right? It's him and Travis, and this. So I completely agree with you. He's more of a threat and a weapon than people are giving him credit for. He's not 2020 DeAndre Hopkins though, right?
No,
he's not winning. He's slower. He's not winning through a ton of separation, but man, the guy's got hands, some of the best in the league. He's got separation and he's got a brain. He's a smart player. And now he's with Patrick Mahomes, who I'm sure is going to be just over the moon to throw to a player like that. So it's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. And it's exactly what they needed to do considering their wide receiver situation. And the fact that they could, get him for so cheap, a fifth, and then I think it's like $8 million. I think is what they ended up taking on Titans 8.5, and they're taking on half. So, yeah, it's going to be a problem. He's going to be by the time we see them in a couple weeks, he'll have a couple games under his belt, a couple weeks of practice. Like, they're going to be in full swing. So, it's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue.
And bro, let's not. I mean, when's the last time he had a 1,000-yard season? It's last year, his age 31 season. So, like, let's not sit here and pretend that this guy is washed up or anything like that. I mean, he had 1,000 yards at age 31. He's only got 173 yards this season so far, but I mean, that's also he's got 15 catches. So I think he's a victim of the quarterback play in Tennessee right now. I think another name we need to invoke here as we're talking about him going to the Chiefs is that's Andy Reid over there calling the plays. Not only calling the plays, but designing the plays. Yeah. Right? If you think Andy Reid isn't going to scheme up plays for DeAndre Hopkins to have success, I think you're an idiot. So that's the other name we have to invoke there. So I'm not like running for the hills, but it's definitely concerning, dude. DeAndre Hopkins is no joke. And obviously, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the football league. So that's kind of where I land on those.
Cool. Well, we're going to have to find out, right? Yeah, so now let's kind of check things out here and hop into last week's game. The Bills defeated the Titans and DeAndre Hopkins. So for what it's worth, they already beat DeAndre Hopkins once. And it was quite the game. Do you want to start with the good or do you want to start with the bad and the ugly, Nige? Let's go in order. Let's go in order of what happens throughout the game, because I poor Nigel was on the receiving end of my my text rampage, and boy oh boy was I ready to just throw in the towel, just sell the team. Somebody go kick over the new stadium, and just we're done. We're done. We're not doing it.
I couldn't believe, because everybody, I think I've made this perfectly clear on the pod at this point. I am the one that is a complete unhinged goddamn psychopath. I freak out. Like, my highs are crazy high. My lows for sports are super, super, super low. But Tommy took a page or 5 out of my book on Sunday. Continue, pal. Sorry.
It was embarrassing. I didn't know what to do. We have Josh Allen, and the offense can't do anything. It was 3 and out after 3 and out after 3 and out, just walking off with the tail between our legs and just, I don't know what to do. You have Josh Allen. Go do something. Make something happen, please. Like, what are we doing? And then the Titans on the other side of the field, they could do whatever they wanted. They walked down the field as if they were the number 2 offense and not like the number 28 offense that they were for the season. And then they had answers for everything. They found the soft spot in the zones, those tight ends. Chig Okonkwo looked like a superstar. Mason Rudolph looked like a genius. Like, it was insane. I didn't know. I thought it was in La La Land, where everything was backwards and nothing was right. And I didn't know what to do with myself. I thought like we were just going to get our heads smashed in at home playing the Titans, and it just wasn't going to work. However, thank God that didn't stay true. Thank God. We knocked out with a glorious win, 34-10. All is good. My wife at the end of the game, she's like, Tom, you were so concerned about this at the beginning, and now at the end, you're sitting here playing a game on your computer while you're watching this game. So clearly, you feel a lot better.
Was weird, though. It was weird, man. And I can, as far as the defense goes, the Bills defense, I can give them a little bit of grace here, because we found out, Friday before that game, that it was going to be Mason Rudolph and not Will Levis. So the team had been prepping that whole week for Will Levis, who was an action figure, who was unhinged, right? And then all of a sudden, after the days where you've implemented your game plan and gone through all your practices, walkthroughs, or at least most of your practicing and walkthroughs, you find out that, okay, all of a sudden, the antithesis to, Will Levis, Mason Rudolph, is suddenly going to be the quarterback who has shown the ability to, at the bare minimum, function in an NFL offense. Not going to use the word thrive, but he has shown the ability to function, right? To make smart, simple decisions, put the ball where it needs to go most of the time, right? Yes. So the Bills had to pivot defensively, with almost no heads up. in a very, very, very significant way. I can give the defense some grace on the way that game started and even give Babs some extra flowers for figuring it out on a situation where you really weren't able to plan, right? So I think there's something to be said there. As far as the Bills' offense against that Titans defense, I got no answers for the way we started. It was crazy. You've been watching that defense all season. That nothing changed there in terms of that
Nope.
prep.
Mm-mm.
So it was definitely off-putting watching Mason Rudolph walk down the field, very easily. But you had no film on him, and whatever film, or at least not as a starter that season with Tennessee, and whatever you did have was from different organizations, right?
Yeah.
So it was a lot to plan for in an incredibly small amount of time after you had already game planned, right? So
Yes.
I'm not going to stress about that defense. It was off-putting, particularly I think because of how bad the Bills' offense looked.
Yeah.
Right.
It was. Yeah, the contrast was the concern, I think.
Yes, yes,
right.
absolutely.
It's like, this is just insane. This is what we're supposed to look like. But
yeah,
so you kind of put on a good point that Babich was able to kind of turn things around and lock things up, clamp them down in the second half. And to be honest, so did Brady. He figured out in the second half as well. So I think in the same breath that I sit here and I say, I said out loud multiple times on Sunday during the first half, Brady's not the guy. He's not it. I'm still not convinced. But in the same breath, I have to be intellectually honest here and say they did adjust and they did win. Both Brady, both Babich, and Sean McDermott, all three of them, and the rest of the team, they figured it out and turned it around. So I have to give them their flowers at the same time where I'm ready to kick them to the moon. So just to kind of keep things moving here, I think we kind of just have some fun with the little highlights because, boy, wow, there was a lot of fun activity happening in the second half. I think we got to start with Keon Coleman.
We do.
The Rook had his day. The most yards caught by a rookie wide receiver this season. So Keon Coleman went
Pretty
for
cool.
4 for 125 yards. Big plays down the field in big moments. Some on tempo and in that were clearly that's what it was schemed up to be. And one big play where the play broke down and he found a spot and was friendly to Josh Allen and opened things up and ran for a huge gain. It was awesome to see him really step up and take a bigger role here.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah. Really, like you said, really, really, really great to just see him kind of come into his own a little bit and win in the ways that we all thought that he would, right? Some contested catches, some contested catch situations, opening himself up for when things fall apart with Josh Allen and going into that backyard football mode, dude. It was really great. We saw the athleticism on display, right? We saw the strength, that one really long catch that he had, dude. He spun out of a tackle where, a smaller receiver, I'll throw out a name like maybe Xavier Worthy, is getting tackled there. Meanwhile, Keon Coleman at 6'4", 215 is spinning out of that. And if he doesn't trip coming out of the spin, I think he takes the distance. Yeah. Now, that being said, you want to see try and get a little bit more consistency in terms of some of this stuff, right? What I don't want to see now is him just disappear, right? Yeah. Because that
we don't want to be one for 3, in 12 yards next game. It can't be that.
Exactly. Yeah. So, he had a couple really big plays in there to kind of, bump up those yards. But I mean, it's not like yards after catch are free. You got to earn those. So, yeah, dude. Shout out Keon Coleman. Great game. I would have loved to see him get a tud. But overall, dude, I mean, what more could you ask for?
Nothing. Amari Cooper, we kind of already touched on him when we talked earlier, but he was 4 for 66 and a touchdown. And Nigel had texted me this week, hey, what's the ideal or what's the fun stat line for Amari? And I think I said 4 for 88 and a touchdown. So I'm about it.
We pretty much got the fun stat.
Yeah. Yep. I said realistic was 4 for 34 and had some flashes, but 4 for 66.
And we agreed there.
That's the fun stat. Yeah. So pretty cool. Kincaid was awesome. Some down the field targets, which is pretty cool and not like that usage. He was 3 for 52. Almost rumbled in for a touchdown at the end there. He had that he got tackled at the 2. Ray Davis, man, that kid, I think he should have a more serious role in this offense. I think it should be more of a 1A, 1B alongside Cook. because he's dangerous, man. He goes out and he makes people make business decisions.
I absolutely agree, dude. Yeah, I'm honestly shocked, or I was shocked, that I didn't see him having a bigger role way earlier in that game after the way he played against the Jets, dude. I was blown away by that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they could both be 1A, 1B, keep them both healthy and and feeling good throughout the season and pushing in hopefully for something later postseason, right? Like, I think that could be awesome having two running backs who are both dangerous in two different ways.
For sure. Real quick, Tommy, can we bounce back to Keon Coleman for a quick second?
Yeah.
So I just want to, this is just a real quick one because the whole football world blamed the Bills first and foremost for giving the Chiefs Xavier Worthy, right? Everyone's like, oh, you gave him Tyreek Hill 2 on a platter. Okay.
Yeah, hand it to him.
Let's look at some numbers here. Yep. So Keon Coleman, 7 games, 27 targets, 16 receptions, 326 yards total so far, 20.4 yards per reception, and 2 touchdowns on the season. Xavier Worthy, 6 games, 29 targets, 15 receptions. So if let's see if I remember right there, less receptions on more targets, 198 total yards, 13.2 yards per reception, and 2 touchdowns. You'll remember those 2 touchdowns came week 1 when everybody shit their pants watching him take those in. Yeah, well, he's done dick ever since, and Keon Coleman only seems to be getting better. So, and I'll also point out, who the fuck else has Mahomes been able to throw the ball to? He said no Rashee Rice. Travis Kelce's been a shell of himself. Where's Xavier Worthy, everybody?
Right.
Talk to me. Who else is who's catching the balls in Kansas City right now?
Well, not the 5'9", 160-pound wide receiver who's getting clamped down by press coverage. Like he's not. The concern about him was, man, oh my gosh, he's so athletic, he's so fast to get him in space. But the problem is he can't get him in space because he can't get off the line of scrimmage.
He can't get off. He's getting bullied. And I'm gonna go find the podcast where I said that was because I think I predicted it. I think I predicted he's gonna flounder against press man coverage, dude. He's built like a 12-year-old.
Go back to the library, pal. So
I do. Yeah, I might have to do that just to spike the football.
Last kind of 3 things here. We didn't really talk much about the defense, but holy cow, they clamped down in the second half. They allowed no points, right? We had 34 unanswered points after the Titans went up 10-7, right? I think it was 10-7 by when we were going to win to half. And just unbelievable turnarounds. Greg Rousseau was a freaking problem. Only came out with half a sack. Only can add another half back here, which is disappointing. But he had 6 quarterback hits, which was the most by any defender in the league so far this season. So he's playing really well. He did a really great job.
He looked awesome. He was so good.
Yeah, it's just so disruptive. I think we have to shout out Tyler Bass. He the Bills brought in 2 kickers for a kicking competition this season. Oh my gosh, this week. And Sean McDermott came out and said it was a legitimate competition. It was a legitimate competition this week of who was going to play. He won, and then he came out and kicked 6 for 6. And they all look good. There was nothing that was concerning. So I shout out that guy. I love seeing the fans pump him up and shout him out and feel really good. Make him feel good. So keep it going, buddy. I'm still gonna be clenching a little bit when I watch you kick, but I love it. Right direction. At least going in the right direction.
It was great to see the fans rally around him like that, because I think that's probably, I can imagine as a kicker in that situation. I know we're running short of time. I have to stop adding things on. You probably need that for your rentals as a kicker, right? Like, do I even have the fan base behind me? Well, that fan base, I mean, they were going nuts for extra points, right? So, hopefully that boosts the mentals a little bit.
Yeah, because that kicking is 100% mental. It's like golf.
He's got the leg, dude.
Yeah, he's just got to figure it out. And man, oh man, I hope he does.
Yeah.
So, any last minute thoughts here on the beautiful win over the Titans that I was never concerned about?
Nah, man, it's obviously important to get the win. It's a conference win, but Tennessee's not a factor this season. You just never too high, never too low, right? Turn the page, move on, because we got bigger fish to fry coming up.
Should have looked like this. That's how they should have looked. Yep. All right, cool. So coming up this week, Sunday at 4:05, the Bills are traveling out to Seattle. They're going to play the Seahawks on Sunday afternoon, and it's gonna be a tight game. I think this is this is a good offense and a defense who plays who playing at home. I think could be a problem. They haven't necessarily been world beaters in statistically, but they could absolutely become a problem. I've been starting to track this year, the Bills DVOA and their opponents DVOA, and I'd like to share those as we kind of talk about our opponents. DVOA stands for Defense Adjusted Value Over Average. So essentially, it's how is every play compared to every other play that was similar to that. What is a 3rd for 3 run? What does a run look like on 3rd and 3? And how do you perform versus every other situation of that in the league versus that in that situation this season? The Bills DVOA this year offensively, they are 2nd, pretty good.
Pretty
Defensively,
good.
they're 9th, and special teams 30th. Going into this week, the Seahawks DVOA, they are 10th offensively, 15th defensively, and 10th special teams. So a good team and right in the middle, and could be a problem. The big things kind of looking through forward into this game is the Seattle does have a run game, and they have a dangerous runner in Kenneth Walker III. He can gash us, and the Bills have been had at running back multiple times this season. So I'm sure that's what Seattle is trying to gauge, and can they rip off a couple big runs like the way the Ravens attacked us? The way that many teams have attacked the Bills this season is get a run game, which apparently we can be had, and keep Josh Allen on the sideline. That's the way that I might approach this game too.
Yeah, if you're Seattle, I think that's probably your bread and butter, especially because we don't know what the situation is right now for DK Metcalf, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he goes, he's not going to be 100%. It's probably fair to assume he's going to be on a pitch count. Now, they still got Tyler Lockett and JSN, who are no joke. I mean, Tyler Lockett, still a really, really great wide receiver. JSN, I really like too, man. I think he looks absolutely awesome.
Mm-hmm.
His numbers aren't anything crazy, but I just think he's a good, rock solid wide receiver. So, it's not like you can just start to ignore the passing game, even though DK might not be 100%. But yeah, man, I mean, I think with the way Kenneth Walker runs, he's a gasher, dude. Like, it's going to be one cut and run. So if we can't have, and we said it against the Ravens and it wasn't there. Gap integrity, gap discipline. You have to do your 111th, right? You can't be like, you can't just be getting washed down, 6 feet out of your gap like we were against the Ravens. I mean, We just got absolutely bullied by the Ravens. It was honestly pathetic to watch. Here's the thing that we have to remember. The Buffalo Bills are allergic to loading up the box, right? They make the conscious decision to concede rushing yards, to be in that, nickel, that nickel formation, right? They're not going to change. If they're not going to change against the Ravens, they're certainly not going to change against the Seahawks, right? So, you're not going to see anything different. Like I predicted, maybe for that Ravens game, we could see some more 4-3, bigger bodies on the field. We didn't do it, and we didn't change even after we were getting the ball run down our throats. So don't expect any personnel changes against the Seahawks. The Bills have shown us time and time again that they don't change for anybody. We have to be prepared mentally to concede some rushing yards. It's just going to happen with the way that the Bills play defense. And I'm okay with it this week because what does Geno Smith do right now? Leads the league in rushing yards. Or passing yards. Thank you.
Imagine.
That's Lamar Jackson. Just kidding. Just kidding, Ravens fans. I like Lamar. But yeah, Geno Smith leading the league in passing yards right now, dude. So yes, take that away, right? Take that away. Make them beat you on the ground. As long as your gap integrity is good, it shouldn't be anything like the Ravens game. And I think that Seahawks defense is a little bit more susceptible, to some, particularly us running the ball. Depending on what Byron Murphy Jr. is like, that rookie, he's a legit defensive tackle, but he's been banged up, right? So I don't know what he is. He's probably not going to be 100% if he plays as well. So I think the secret ingredient for the Bills on offense is still running the ball.
I agree, man. It's gonna be a good one. I'm excited. I think also not to be left out is the fact that the Bills are traveling across the country, right?
Which we hate doing.
Right.
We don't play well when we do that.
No. So go in, take care of business, play a clean game, come out healthy. The Bills injury report is a little littered with bodies right now. So come out healthy and let's get to week 9. That's where I'm at.
The only other thing I would say here is Seattle's an NFC team, right? Well, nobody wants to be, putting up L's or putting up numbers in the L column. If you're going to lose a game, this is the one to do it against because NFC, right? So,
True.
Obviously, wins are wins. You got to have them. But if you're going to drop a game, in this little stretch here, I hope it's this one, right? I'm not going to would because I want us to win. But if someone says, okay, Nige, the Bills are going to lose one of these next couple games, which one do you want it to be? I'm hammering the Seattle game. So something to keep in mind.
That's a very good point. Good point. All right, pal. Let's do some score predictions. What do you got?
Yeah, buddy. I'm going 28-24 Bills. I think it's going to be relatively high scoring.
Okay.
But I do think it's going to be close. It could get higher. I wouldn't be shocked at all if this got into the mid 30s, mid high 30s. But I'm gonna predict Bills 28 and then Seahawks 24. I'm predicting it's getting the dub here.
Cool. Awesome. I will also, I have to admit, halfway through last week's game, I was ready to say I will never predict the Bills to win until they prove me otherwise. That was more of the tilt. It was a thought I had. Yep. It was a thought I had. All right. But in lieu of what happens, I'm going to take the Bills 31, Seahawks 27.
Word.
Bills
awesome,
31, dude. Seahawks 27. So, yeah, man, lots of Buffalo sports happened this week. So, all folks, stay tuned in, check it out, and we all, like always, we appreciate you hanging out with us. And adios. Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for spending some time with us. Please give us a like and a follow on Instagram, X, TikTok, and our YouTube channel at Let's Go Buff Pod. These are my pals, Jake and Nigel. My name is Tom, and you're listening to the Let's Go Buffalo podcast. We're sending you love wherever you are. Go Bills, go Sabres, let's go Buffalo.